Alright, you guys. Today is day 4 of Vlogtober. I know. Hopefully this one will be up in time if my phone will obey with me. I'm sorry the last ones weren't up in time, but I really tried to. Hopefully this one will get up in time and I'll have enough time to film day 5, because tomorrow is day 5. You guys, look at that. That's cute. Bite me. Okay, as you can see, I've already got my reading glasses on. And as promised, today I will be reading Little Black Dog. And then I'll be reading the counterpart of Little White Dog, because this is part 2 of the ready thing. Yeah. The scary stories. I've already tried this once, and for some reason my phone flailed out on me. Okay, so let's get started again. It'll be awesome, you guys. It will be awesome. I swear I'll try not to mess up as much as I did in the first one. So hopefully let's get this going. I do better in my mind than I do in my real lifeness, talking out loudiness. Yeah. Okay, so this one's called Little Black Dog. There was an old man named Billy who claimed that he was being followed around by a little black dog. He said it followed him wherever he went and wouldn't leave him alone. Billy could often be seen hollering and cursing and throwing rocks, trying to drive the dog away. All the people in the town thought he was crazy because there was no dog there. Whenever somebody tried to tell Billy that there wasn't any dog there, he replied, maybe you don't see it, but I do, and I'm not any crazier than you are." As the story goes, the first time Billy saw the little black dog was on the day he killed Silas Burton. Back in those days, the town was full of robbers and bandits. Everybody carried a gun, and people were going around fighting each other or killing each other. Billy was a young man back then, and he hated Silas Burton. They had been feuding for years. One day, Billy saw Silas come riding towards him. As soon as their eyes met, they both went for their guns. Billy managed to get his first and fired off the first shot. He hit Silas Burton square in the shoulder and knocked him off his horse. The horse got frightened and ran off, leaving Silas Burton lying there in the dirt with a bloody arm and a broken back. The gun had fallen where he couldn't reach it, and he was a sitting duck, lying there on the ground, writhing in pain and begging Billy not to kill him. Billy just looked down at him and spit in his face. Then he leveled his gun and killed him in cold blood. Silas Burton's little dog came running over, started licking the dead man's face. Then it let out a painful whine and started barking and snarling at Billy. Still in a murderous rage, Billy killed the dog, too. Oh, yeah, still in a murderous... Okay, so I did. Left both corpses lying there in the road. Back then, there was no law in the town. There was no sheriff and no deputies to arrest Billy. After the murder, he just went home, drank a few beers, went to bed. But all night long, he heard the little black dog whining outside his cabin. "I must be imagining things," Billy said. Billy said to himself as he tossed and turned in bed. "The dog is dead. I know it because I shot it myself." The next morning, Billy woke up and he looked out the window. He saw the dog staring back at him. It was waiting for him outside. From that moment on, not a day went by that he didn't see the dog at night. The dog would scratch at the door and bark to be let in. During the day, it would follow him around town. Billy kept finding black dog hairs everywhere. They were on his sofa, the floor, in his bed. Sometimes he would even find them in his food. The whole house stank of dog. "It ain't my imagination," Billy said. "That's Cy Burton's little black dog." Things went on like that for many years. Then one morning, in the middle of the winter, the neighbors didn't hear any smoke. They didn't see any smoke coming out of Billy's chimney. When they went to his house to check up on Billy, Billy wasn't there. A few days later, they found his body lying in a field behind the cabin. Billy had plenty of enemies, and at first it seemed like somebody might have killed him, but there wasn't any marks on him. He was laying in the snow, and there wasn't any footprints. There wasn't any footprints either. There wasn't any footprints out there except for Billy's. The doctors couldn't find anything wrong with the body, and he couldn't figure out the cause of death. He said that Billy might have died of old age, or had a heart attack or the cold, but nobody believed that. There was something odd about his death, but when the neighbors found Billy, there was black dog hairs on his clothes. There was even a few on his face. It smelled like a dog had been out there, yet no one had seen a dog anywhere. Ooh, spooky. I think I did better than I did the first time, so I'm glad I'm able to do this one a second time because the first one was horrifying, you guys. Horrifying. But if you didn't like me rating, you know what? Bite me. Okay. Next up is its counterpart story, Little White Dog. Little white dog, meow 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 meow. Come on. Okay. Okay. There was an old woman who. I'm reading this right, and yet I looked at it like, oh. Okay, let's start over. There was an old woman who had no family still living. Her only friend was a little white dog who went everywhere with her. With one exception, the dog loved the fireplace in the winter, and after the old woman went to bed, he would sometimes go and lie in front of the warm coals. Usually, though, the dog slept at the very edge of the bed on a throw rug. The woman wouldn't allow the dog on the bed with her, but if she became frightened or had a nightmare, she would put her hand down and the little white dog would lick it reassuringly. One night, the woman had read a newspaper about, yeah, she, one night, the woman was reading her newspaper just before going to bed. She shivered and pulled the comforter up around her as she read that a mental patient had wandered off from a nearby hospital. No one knew if the patient was dangerous or not. He was a suspect in the murder of several women who had lived alone. The woman turned out the light and tried to sleep, but she was frightened and tossed and turned fitfully. Finally, she reached down to where the little white dog slept. Sure enough, a warm tongue began to lick her hand. The woman felt reassured and safe, and left her hand dangling off the bed. As she turned and settled in comfortably, she opened her eyes for a moment and looked through the open door of the living room. There in front of the fireplace sat her little white dog, gazing at the coals and wagging his tail. Down beside the bed, something was still licking her hand. That's creepy, you guys. So that mental patient was in her house, licking her hand. Oh, imagine that, like, literally. Sorry. Anyways, I think I have enough time, you guys, to read just you one more story. One more. Just one. So give me a second, I'll find one that we can read together. I'll be right back. Okay, you guys. To celebrate the fact that I have a basketball game tomorrow, I'm going to read you a story called Baseball. It makes so much sense. Okay, there were two brothers named Ricky and Bobby who enjoyed playing baseball. Ricky was always the pitcher, and Bobby was always the second baseman. One day they were sitting on the couch when Ricky wondered aloud, "Do you think they play baseball in heaven?" "I don't know," replied Bobby. "Is there a way to find out?" asked Ricky. I have an idea," Bobby said. "How about if one of us ever dies, he has to come back and tell the other if there is baseball in heaven?" "Okay, it's a deal," Ricky agreed. A few days later, Ricky was cycling down the road when he was hit by a car. He died on his way to the hospital. He died on the way to the hospital. Bobby went to the funeral and cried for days. A week later, he was visited by a ghost of his dead brother. "Have you come to tell me if they play baseball in heaven?" Bobby asked. "Well, I've got good news and bad news," Ricky said. "The good news is they do play baseball in heaven, and the bad news is you're scheduled to pitch tomorrow." Okay, you guys. uh, wouldn't that be scary? Like, you're like, do they play basketball in heaven? I got a basketball game tomorrow in heaven. And I'm the front point guard, pitcher, Linebackerman. Yeah. Anyways, so you guys, that's it for day 4. I hope you enjoyed my terrible reading of stories. And as I said, if you want me to continue reading, tell me in the comment area below. And, thank you for watching. Also, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Remember to turn on your notification belly button once, so you know when I do an uploady live streamy. I'm planning on doing a live stream soon. Maybe day 10 will be a live stream. Or this weekend. Sometime this weekend, maybe. I'll do a live stream on this. And, remember to shine bright like a jack-o'-lantern. Because, yeah, that's what I said. I human heartily love you. I human heart you guys. Alright, bye. Mwah. Remember, if you didn't like it, bite me. Bye.